So what's working? What's not? Let me take a look and inventory of my relationships for the year. How am I showing up? What's landing for people? Am I using humor? Am I not? Do I need more lightness? Do I need more play? Do I need more fun? Do I need more softness, more sensitivity, more assertiveness? And coming into that balance and checking in. And this is why I know it's my life work. And for those of you listening, if you're unsure what's your life work, what do you love?
Yeah.
What are you obsessed with?
Hello, amazing humans, and welcome to episode number 286 of the Game On Girlfriend podcast. Have you ever watched somebody be really amazing in relationships? You know who I'm talking about. Like maybe you have that one friend in the friend group who just always seems to say the right thing or like show up in the right way, also go away at the right time. You know what I mean? Or maybe there was a great leader in an organization where you got to serve and work, and you were like, how does everybody want to follow this person all the time? How do they do that? What is happening? Maybe you've even seen it in influencers out there on the interwebs, or you felt it in your own intimate relationship, whether you're with somebody who's really good at communicating with you or someone who's not. And you're wondering, what is this thing? What happens here? Why is this working this way? You're going to love today's guest. Her name is Nicola Navon. And I'm telling you right now, this woman has figured out something amazing about the internal masculine and feminine energy that we all have, right? So this isn't about just men and women. This is about traits. This is about energy that comes out of us. And how do we use that well? And what I loved so much about this conversation is there's no one trick wonder here. What it is you getting more familiar with yourself in understanding how much masculine is showing up and how much feminine is showing up and where are you out of balance? Because when we're out of balance with ourselves internally between these two energies, the rest of your life just doesn't seem to work so well. Nicola Navon is a speaker, communication, and leadership coach. She's an expert in relational dynamics and the host of the Divine Union podcast. She helps individuals master the art of influence and create vibrant, impactful relationships, whether in leadership, love, or life. She bridges self mastery and thriving relationships, understanding that leadership and influence are not compartmentalized. Who you are at work shapes who you are in relationships, and vice versa. Her signature framework, the Union Method, blends three core pillars: balance, communication, and polarity energetics. This conversation with Nicola today was so much fun to have. And we really explored our shared humanity, all of us. Like if you're like up against something right now and it's not working and you can't figure out why, this episode is really going to help. If you feel like you need to change something in your life, but you're not sure what it is yet, this episode is going to help you figure out how to tap inside to understand what it is you need to help you move to your best next step. And chances are it has to do with your relationship with yourself and other people. Pop in those earphones and let's get to it. Nicola, welcome to the Game on Girlfriend podcast. We are talking all things masculine and feminine. And boy, if I don't think that is needed in the world right now.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Gonna be good. I'm so excited. So everybody now knows what you do and your specialty, which I think is so interesting. And I can't wait to dive into that with you. But before we do that, I want the audience to understand, I want to understand, out of all the things on planet Earth that you could have done, which is clearly a lot of things, why out of everything is this what you do?
I love this question so much, Sarah. And thank you so much for having me. And to everyone listening, I'm Nicola Navon. I'm a relationship communication coach. And what I do is I help you communicate in ways that are magnetic,
Mm.
in addition to balancing of masculine, feminine traits to enhance the communication so we can have deeper intimacy and influence and impact in all of our relationships. And I got into this work because I always wanted deep intimacy and I could never cultivate it.
Ooh.
I was always in these partnerships where partners couldn't meet my needs, where I wasn't getting the kind of depth I desired. I was a people pleaser. I sacrificed a lot of my needs at the expense of the relationship. I was too afraid to express disappointment, express my boundaries for fear of abandonment or that it would cause disruption in the relationship.
Mm.
And I had this one traumatic relationship that was the straw that broke the camel's back. It caused a lot of cause for pause a lot
Mm,
of reflection on my end. What does this say about me? Why am I in these relationships?
mm,
And
mm,
so I did a lot of work here, first with working with my masculine, feminine energetics and bringing more balance into my being. This is the core of my work.
mm,
Why? What do I mean by that? On my feminine side, I was in this unhealthy, this people pleasing, this minimizing of my energy of who I was to keep the connection. And
mhm,
I didn't know how to speak what it is I desire, lead the direction of the intimacy. That's masculine energy. I'm going to voice, ooh, I would enjoy for us to spend more time together. I'd like when we go out together that we speak highly of each other because that's the kind of relationship I desire. Naming what it is that we want. I like when
mm,
we make eye contact or when we're out at group parties and expressing myself, but then also on that feminine side, learning how to have that softness, that sense of play, learning how to read my partners, to
mm,
intuit how is this landing for them, using curiosity to pull more out of them. And so it's been this process for me of balancing my energetics so that I show up as a more grounded partner, a more secure in myself,
mm.
but also more relaxed and able to receive and to surrender. And this has helped me in business in a big way.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And then lastly, it's the communication piece, working with my actual communication and how I ask for things, how I speak, my tone
Mm,
of voice, my cadence, feeling into are my breathing and oxygenating my body so that I'm communicating in a frequency that feels good for me and
mm.
that's well received.
I have to be so honest with you. One, it sounds heavenly. Like I'm like, yes, let's do that. I'm just listening to your voice. I'm like, I just, whatever you say, I'll do. It sounds so good. I'm like, yes. And what's coming up for me is how much courage that takes. Like, oh my gosh. One, the courage just to figure out what you actually want. Like so many of us just like, oh, Hallmark said this, or the society said that I'm supposed to want this. So we just assume that's what we want. So there's that courage to actually go, hold on. I don't know that I want that. Like, what do I actually want? So, like, putting the pause on that takes courage. And then actually sharing that with someone that you love. Like, oh my gosh,
I
how did you
love,
find the courage to do that?
yeah, and I
What,
love
I
that
mean,
you're also
oh,
you're grounding the conversation. You're honing me back. You're bringing me back in those roots, which I love, Sarah. You're like, Nicola, come back. Let's go. I'm Aquarius, so I'm up in the clouds here. Yeah, I could go for hours. But yes, the grounding, the courage it takes for
yeah.
us in our dharma, in our path, in our purpose to say, this is my journey
Mm,
of what I'm here to work through in my own life. And this is what I'm here to do to help other people. And the way I believe it comes from our own deep journey. For me, my deep journey is balance. It's been healing my relationship with the first masculine figure in my life, my father, and healing how I relate to all my partners because I used to project. I used to come from a victim mentality. I wasn't the agent of my own life. And so healing that balance has and continuing because I teach this work and it's a continuous practice for me to balance. Even in business, how do I balance my
mhm,
creating, putting out in the world as with the being, the part of me that needs the reflection. What's working in my business? What's not working? Where can I refine? Where can I hone? Same in my relationships. What's working? What's not? Let me take a look and inventory of my relationships for the year. How am I showing up? What's landing for people? Am I using humor? Am I not? Do I need more lightness? Do I need more play? Do I need more fun? Do I need more softness, more sensitivity, more assertiveness? And coming into that balance and checking in. And this is why I know it's my life work. And for those of you listening, if you're unsure what's your life work, what do you love?
yeah.
What are you obsessed with?
I think you just hit on something I hear myself say a lot is we always teach that which we need the most, whether it's to our own children, our best friends, if we do it for a living, like whatever it is that we teach is the one thing that mattered the most to us to learn, right? And to really master. And what that means is you keep learning. And I love that piece of what you're saying because I think so often when somebody has an expertise like you do and they've used it on themselves, right? You're like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. What is going on here? And you do the work to actually figure that out. That's hard, right? It takes a lot of confidence and, like we were saying, a lot of courage to do that. And then you know that you've kind of hit a moment of, oh, what is the word? I want to say power, but it's richer than that. It's like a moment of passion when you take what you've learned and you turn it into a service. And I think there's a way that you recognize, like, oh my gosh, I found my thing. And I'm not putting it down because I'm freaking obsessed with it. Like, I'm going to keep going with it. I love that. And I think it's something that people can miss, right? We catch everybody's like highlight reels. And we don't know there's all this work that gets done all the time on what we're learning how to communicate it, how we're learning how to share it, how we're learning how to teach it, and how we're reflecting it back to ourselves. So I just really want to acknowledge you for saying that because I think that's a big deal.
I love that comment so much, Sarah, because it's just wiring it in for me, for everybody, of just this is it. Because
Mhm.
it's also the humility, what I'm hearing coming through from what you're sharing too. It's the humility of owning also, I'm a human being. And now I get to do what I love, continue to grow. And that's what brings us depth in our work. That's where the expertise comes, that maturity, that age of like, I am continuing to hone this skill over and over again, and I'm never perfect. I'm never
None of us
there.
are. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. And I love
like
that shared
owning
humanity
it.
piece. I love that because, like, oh, hi, we're all human. It's like, let's come back to planet Earth. We're all in this to support each other as much as we can. And I really love that piece of what I'm hearing come through from you. And let's about humility. I had one more question about really helping people understand how to tap into what they want and communicating what they want. And that's vulnerability. I talk about not being perfect, right? This is my Everest. Being vulnerable in a romantic relationship is my Everest. I love being alone. I am so an eagle. I just fly by myself, right? Those are people who fly in flocks. I'm like, peace, right? I just couldn't just go forever and ever. And my kids joke around all the time. I'm like, I could be alone for 3 days and not notice. It's bananas, right? So for me, it's vulnerability. So this is a very selfish question, but how do you teach people really that piece of vulnerability? I know it takes courage, but is that something we can learn to do? Do we learn how to be vulnerable like that?
Love this question so much because you're also getting into we get some depth here of the masculine, feminine energetics. And I love the ego reference, by the way, because I've been thinking about that a lot lately. And I'm that way as well. I'm in the business of relationships and I spend 80% of my time alone
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it stems from our primary relationship with self.
Mm.
Vulnerability. This is where, for me, the balance of the masculine and feminine come in. Because I could never truly be in my feminine, be vulnerable, be connected to my heart if I didn't have my solid masculine. And I want for all of you
Mm.
listening, think of the masculine like it's your roots of a tree, it's your groundedness in who you are, what you're about, the agency behind your words, the conviction in what you say, who you are in business, in partnership. It's your ability to I'm going to do something wild, sexy, outrageous in partnership. And maybe it doesn't land for partner. Maybe I don't know if it's going to land. Maybe they reject me because they naturally will at some point in the relationship. We're human beings. Maybe I do something cute and it doesn't land. I need my masculine core to hold me grounded through that. And that makes way then for my feminine to play. You reject me, let's go vulnerable. Maybe I'm like, ooh, that hurt. Like that didn't feel good because I was trying to make an attempt to do something sweet. And you just kicked it back with some feistiness. Now, if I don't have my masculine core, I'm going to be wounded. I'm going to crumble at the first sign of rejection. I'm going to have a hard time actually being vulnerable. And so it allows us, it gives us that permission to go there. I'm going to take a pause first because I feel like you got something on that.
No, you just blew my mind a little bit. Like, I have never thought about being grounded as a masculine trait. But it's so interesting throughout my entire career of supporting women in their relationship to money, in growing their businesses. You must make requests, right, in order to grow your business. It's not like I wish it was magical thinking and we could just sit here and be like, where's the money? Right. And it's the one issue I see come up for women so much, which is probably why I'm teaching about it because I need it too, right? Since I have a hard time being vulnerable, is this idea that there is a masculine grounding, a certainty that takes root so that you can go out and be vulnerable. Did I hear that right? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly
It's
right.
amazing.
It's I couldn't until I worked on my healing my masculine and bringing it in. I wasn't able to put myself out there
Yeah.
in relationships and business. It's vulnerable in business too when we're creating offers and putting ourselves out there and sharing our heart and our soul online, especially if it's our dharma. And if we're not getting the response we desire, how do we hold ourselves when safety? Like, you got this, Nicola. You're okay. You're a queen. This is your path. This is your dharma. What do we need to do? Do we need to shift? Do you need some time? Do you need a massage? Do we need to reset, set new goals? Like, it's holding ourselves through it. Business, partnership, that's why I love this work applies to leadership. It applies to love. It applies to all of life because we deal with rejections and hurts. And how do we not source our value, our worth externally to anything?
Preach on it. That I think that's that piece of the human condition actually, I think is so tricky, sticky. It's like it's not well defined for so many people is what happens externally is what actually defines my worth, right? So many people live that way and how dangerous it is to live that way. And I'll tell people all the time, they're like, oh, my business was doing well. And now I don't think I'm so good at business. And it's like, well, you borrowed the confidence from the money. You didn't have the confidence internally. You let the money in the bank tell you we're worthy of running the business. And what I'm hearing you say is that actually is our entire lives. Like, where in our entire lives are we outsourcing our worthiness to external circumstances?
It's that wholeness. And, in my own partnership, I've shared my last lover left me for another woman, and I'm in the business of relationships. I teach relationships, communication, intimacy. And how do I still
Mm.
hold myself and still show up as the incredible leader and teacher, mentor that I am, despite that? And this is when in our relationships, relating becomes fun, relating becomes exciting because we relate from choice to people choosing to relate with each other, not out of codependency, not out of need, but out of true depth. And that's where intimacy is built, whether it's with our clients, whether it's with our partners, in all of our relationships.
Mm. Oh, that is beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, because they, so I can't believe how similar our messages are, Nicola. I'm loving this because
Good.
I'll say, don't be codependent with your clients. Because what can happen is it's like, oh, somebody signed up for something I offered, somebody purchased something I offered. Now I owe them. And that can create this crazy codependent relationship as opposed to, no, there's two adults here. One is offering something and one chose to buy it. There's two adults, right? And it's like, oh, and the freedom that gives potential clients as well. They don't feel like she needs me to buy this or she's not going to. It's like, no, right? We're two healthy adults. So seeing that in a romantic relationship, in any kind of intimate relationship, that there does not need to be codependence when we're whole and healthy.
And I cannot wait, by the way, Sarah, to have you on my podcast to talk all about codependence with clients because
Yeah.
this is an edge for me in an area I'm really excited to hear your medicine, your transmission on. I
Oh,
just want
it's
to
so
say
much
that.
fun. But I really think there's a parallel here that is just so important. And so let's say someone's listening right now and they know maybe their relationship is in trouble, or maybe they are starting to figure out what codependency actually means and how it's functioning inside of their relationships, whatever those relationships are. And they're recognizing there might be a part of themselves that doesn't feel so whole. What could be like one or two things they could actually start to work through or start to try on to figure out how to feel more whole, to come to these relationships feeling more whole?
Such a good tangible question. I love me the tangibles. Now you got me thinking, so let me just simmer on that for a moment. Yeah. When it comes to wholeness, for me, what comes is tuning into first, who am I? Like, what am I feeling in a given
Mm,
moment? It's a really easy way. So if I'm feeling, and we can tell how we're feeling also based on our coping behaviors, our addictive behaviors. So, for example,
mm,
if I'm feeling lonely, I may go, even though I spend 80% of my time, I still feel lonely. I'm a human being. I might go to the fridge and grab some fruit and like overeat, or I might, call people. I might look at my phone. I probably wouldn't call people. I don't call, but I might look at my Instagram, and mindlessly scroll, do mindless activities. So seeing where are you starting to feel like you need something, that's a sign. Okay, I'm needing something, but I don't really feel like connecting with people. What is it I need? I need
Mm,
to connect to self. Maybe I need
mm,
presence. It's what I need is presence. So maybe I need to meditate. Maybe I need to do a ritual. Maybe I need to self pleasure. Maybe I need to take a bath, journal, like feel some joy, go on a walk, see nature. And so it's to help us tune into the wholeness. It's understanding what it is that we need in a given moment. So identifying those, maybe the gaps in time where there's a lapse and we start to
mm,
feel this longing, this loneliness.
mm,
And instead of rushing to fill it with an addiction, I'm going to go grab fruit. I'm going to grab sugar. I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to look at my social media, whatever, insert your addiction here. It's like then we take that time and actually address the need. If
mm.
I'm lonely, what do all those examples, do I need self touch? And
Right.
nurturing it with self and strengthening the ability to
Mm.
nurture it with self before we source it to anything external.
I think that's huge. And I think I like, because I could picture it like, I don't know why I have this in my head, but everybody hang on to your hats and glasses. Right. But I can imagine like someone listening to this and they're driving in their car and they're like mad at the person they're going home to. Right. And it's like, what do I need? What do I need? Instead of saying, and then they did that, and then they, and walking in, what I'm hearing is what you said. I said, what are one or two things? And you said, what do I need? What does self need? And really coming home and remembering, I think, because it's a remembering, it's not a learning, it's a remembering that no one else can actually make us feel whole but us, which is exactly the point. We're saying don't go to the relationship halfway expecting them to fill you. That's not going to work. You feel you,
Yeah.
literally
I
feel and
love
fill. Yeah.
I love that example too
Mm,
in the car because it's now inviting us to bridge it more tangible, to ground it in here too. It's like, yeah, if that happens, then how do I, if I'm jealous, if my partner does something disrespectful, how
mm,
do I not lash out immediately? You don't want to ever lash out, but how do I release the charge with self? So I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to feel it.
mm,
What about that
mm,
interaction did I not appreciate? Was a boundary crossed? What does it mean for me? What does it activate within me? So then I communicate to partner, ooh, I didn't like when you made a joke at my expense to your friend. Why? Because for me, it signifies disrespect. Disrespect is a wound from me from childhood. I never felt respected, so it activates that in me. And what I'd like, partner, is when we're out, that we speak positively of about each other because
mm,
that kind of relating feels good. That's the kind of power couple I desire to be.
mm,
And it's like communicating with empowerment from desire, not from I need it, not from lack, because I'm first going to work through my own charge. I'm going to be empowered, and then
mm.
I'm going to ask for what I want
I
and
love that.
allow
That is,
you to meet.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and invite you to rise to meet me. And then if they don't, time will tell. You'll know, but it's an invitation, it's not force.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
I love that. You can meet me here. And boy, is that not a different conversation from, hey, jerk face, don't do, right? I mean, what a difference that is of like, I love what you said. That's inviting people to come to a new level, like you can meet me here or not. And this idea that we actually allow people to show up the way they are going to show up so we can make informed decisions too, but it's really, I think so often we just think people should know what we want to need. And then it's like, well, he never gave me XYZ. And it's like, did you ask for it? Same thing I say in business. My business isn't making money. Did you make an offer? It's like, well, we just want things to magically happen and we forget the power of that communication. Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm loving this so much. And I love that you've got this business angle because it's so interesting. It's like I'm a relationship expert. And then now I'm like, oh, yes, the business angle. Wow, wow. So all these concepts, they transcend so
Well,
many.
well, yeah. I mean, business is relationships, right? Like, I don't want to with or like respect or want to be around. Like, that's bananas. Right? That doesn't sound like a good time. Okay. There's one other thing I know you're an expert at that I really loved when we were sort of exploring how we could share what you do. And it's unhealthy manifesting versus healthy manifesting. Can you talk about that? Because I'm like riveted. I really want to understand what's healthy and what's not healthy when it comes to manifesting. And my spidey senses are there's probably some masculine and feminine energy at play on that too. But anyway, I'd love to hear
Um,
about that.
yeah, it's such an interesting topic. And I went into a phase of my life where I was unhealthy in the manifestation
Mm,
realm. And how I could tell was it was coming from so an unhealthy aspect of the distorted masculine in our world, the way that, they teach. I say the distorted masculine because the way they teach the masculine, but we all have this within us because we're all a product of the system, is control.
hmm.
And so unhealthy manifesting, it comes even in relationships, in business, when we come from this place of I can control you, partner, I can control the outcome. I'm trying to control my business. I'm trying to control how you're responding to me. That is energy never works and it never feels good in our body. It never feels good for anyone receiving it. And so the healthy is like, this is my desire. And I'm going to either, if in partnership, I'm going to name it to you and invite you to rise to meet me and see how you do. Allow you to show me, allow the relationship to unfold as it's meant to, not try to force the intimacy. Same with career. I'm going to put this out here. I'm going to take actionable steps in my masculine. I'm going to create systems. I'm going to time block my day. I've got my marketing funnels. I got my sales process. I have my systems that set me up for success, but then it's up to you, God, source, higher power, universal energy as to how it unfolds.
Preach on it, sister. Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. Okay. So let's just recap that real quick. So unhealthy manifesting has to do with control. And I think the echo I'm hearing from control is also manipulation, right? I'm going to force this to go the way I want it to, and I'll do whatever I need to do to make that happen, as opposed to declaring or sharing and allowing.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that sharing and allowing, and also then
Mm,
like bringing in the element of play because we're not controlling. So it's the feminine. So it's like, okay, ooh, this isn't working, or this isn't the way I desire. I'm going to shift. I'm going to try to do something differently with my business in this way and see how people respond. I'm going to
mm,
play in this way and see how people respond. And giving that sense of play and redirection, and also allowing universe sort of to respond to us as we co-create life. And that takes discernment to know when is it a challenge to work through and when is it also life shifting me in a new direction and how do I play with the polarity of that?
How do you tell the difference? I would love to know that, Nicola. I think that's probably one of the most common questions I get. How do I know
Mm.
if I need to tweak or quit?
It
How do
is,
you
it's something
notice the
I'm
difference?
still working through, I will say. But when I can, the more I can bring that sense of playfulness and stay connected to my
Mm,
heart and listen, the more I'm able to tell. And so it's a dance for me. Even with my business, my messaging's change, my branding's change. Right now, I talk a lot about communication. I used to speak about the balance of the energetics. And so for me, it's a dance as well with my business and continuing to feel in for
mm,
alignment with myself and to see also what's happening and let the both my internal knowing and the external energetics show me and
mm.
guide me every step of the way.
So good. It really is living in the moment and watching what's happening is what I'm hearing. And that I think we know we're off track. We're more in that force control side if we're not playing, when it's no longer joyful, when it's no longer fun. Is that true for romantic relationships as well? Is it
Yes,
time to
I
tweak or
love.
quit? Yeah, right. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
love to know what
yeah.
you think. Yeah.
And this is where, because some people always ask me, they're like, Nicola, do I stay or do I go? My
Yeah.
longer term clients. And I'm like, I can't tell you. That's a
Right.
feeling inside. So, for example, when my last lover left me, part of my work, my old reels, I use play. I created my best content in that time. These funny reels of, like that Keith Sweat song, No one will love you like me, nobody. Or like, I'm gonna find you and make you want me. Like, how do we play? And it worked for some time. It shifted how he responded to me. We reignited our connection. We were able to bridge
Mm,
communication, to work through some of the challenge. But at a certain point, it disconnected. And so this is but I know how I feel. So if you're relating with someone, it's not feeling good
Mm,
consistently, you feel bad about yourself, trying shifting how you be, shift how you communicate, see how that shifts their energy, see how that shifts the collective energy. Now, maybe it continues to feel super heavy. That's something you need to feel as a person listening to be like, is this aligned?
mm, mm.
And maybe not. And
And
maybe
maybe not.
that's your
Yeah.
sign to go.
Yeah, maybe not. Or, oh my gosh, it just got fun again. And living in that, living into that. Oh, so good. So good. Oh my gosh. Well, Nicola, we could probably talk for another 3.5 hours. So, but we're not going to do that
Good.
just yet. But I would love if someone's listening to you and they're like, oh my gosh, that's my vibe. That's my person. And they really want to know more about what you do. How can people find out more about what you do?
Yeah, great question. Instagram's the best way to find me. Nicola Navon, or my website, nicolanavon.com. Shoot me a DM. You got any questions? Let me know what you dug from this episode. I always love to riff. I love to chat. And thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it. And for all of you who are tuning in, those of you watching on YouTube, the links to reach out to Nicola are underneath this video. For those of you listening, it is in the show notes. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with all of the girlfriends and teaching all of us to be a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit more intimate. I so appreciate it.
Pleasure.